question from another student about regrets, changes that could have been made.
For me,
we'll start there.
When you get into recovery, people say, like, forgive yourself. And I do forgive myself. But that doesn't mean I'm not aware of some of my regrets. Mm-hmm. I think the regrets that I have are part of the process that allow me to embrace and want recovery so badly in my life, because I've caused enough, and I'm going to chase this the way it's supposed to be chased for someone in my position, and so the regrets are still there. I talk about them often. Mm-hmm. That's part of the healing process. I'm one to cry about them when I share. The guests at this wellness center right now are very aware of the pain behind some of my shares. And it's, although I'm 13, 15, 20 years removed from some of those regrets, I still remember them like they were yesterday.
We had a student who was wondering about how did you gain enough, courage and strength to finally make that change?
Others. When I didn't believe in myself, other people did. When I was lacking drive, other people picked me up. I surrounded myself with some really, really good people. Mm-hmm. I made very, very conscious decisions about who I was going to share my journey with and my struggle with. And because of that, I believe, I'm 12 years sober.
We come across a lot of students who connected with the part about, being a kid, mm-hmm. And how you enjoy being a kid, but then also being a teenager that nobody really knows anymore. And even those around you don't really know who you are, and sort of struggle around, how do I let people in?
That's the stigma, that's what we're fighting so hard for, is to break the stigma down where people can share who they are and what their struggle is. Mm-hmm. I just met with a woman here, and I could sit here all day and talk about what happened to me at 6 and the struggle I had at 10. But it's being willing to talk about the everyday struggle, and being open and honest about esteem and self-worth and the struggles we go through in long-term recovery, mm-hmm. right? Never mind that 14 and 15. I think the stigma has played such a part in not allowing these kids to really to take off the mask.
Right. We talk a lot with students around everybody has, a smile on their face, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And there usually is a huge difference with that. We try our best, to make kids aware that you have feelings for a reason, and it's really figuring out how we're going to manage those because times are hard, things are a struggle.
And teenage, those years are struggle, right? I think parents unfortunately want to, maybe for some they were so traumatic they just never want to remember. And I don't think there's enough adults that share how vulnerable they were at 14, where their self-esteem is at 16, mm-hmm. And some of their real, genuine emotional struggle that they went through in those adolescent, early teenage years. And when that's the beauty of being in recovery, because it's having a space to identify, right? I can walk into a room and I can sit there and I know I'm not going to be judged. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these kids don't have a space to identify. A lot of these kids haven't been given a space to identify, because they're afraid to share their struggle.
Right, and if you just, if we can find ways that kids can get out how they're really feeling, not be judged by it, then they're going to realize this is okay.
Right.
Society hasn't turned me away, and it's how we move on.
Sure.
And can then
And heal.
be strong and help others.
Right, of course.
No, we certainly, SoRock appreciates your time. We're very passionate about this, and we really try to do what we can for kids and adults. And we agree, if I could get more parents out there to hear and listen and respond, and sometimes not respond to their kids, we'd have a healthier, community around us.
For me, it's just, and I touched on it already. It's probably one of the saddest things I see, is traveling the country, and I walk into a foyer of a school, and I see 8 to 10 adults sitting at tables, standing around tables, and they want to bring this message to their community, and they work so hard, and they're so passionate, and when you see communities that don't want to respond, it's sad. And there's a lot of parents out there that wish they showed up to those and wish they were present to hear those messages when their child was 12, 10, 14, but they chose to stay on the couch and not hear or be educated or, be armed with some of the facts that are current with our children and some of their struggles today.
Definitely. I talk all the time about how we have to have small conversations with kids so we know how to have the big conversations. You're not going to get to those important pieces if you can't talk about the basics of what happened in their day.
And, like I touched on the first day, it's and I don't know the number, right? But I would say, the majority of parents who witness their child walk into their home for the first time under the influence, they don't ask them why. Their first instinct is to say, who were you with? Where'd you get it? How much did you do?
Sure.
But they don't want to get to the emotional piece.
No, because we had a conversation and we think it's over.
Yeah.
And then we stop looking. And then, within a short amount of time, we have emergencies on our hands.
Right.
So it's a huge piece.
Ask why, right?